Come in to compare a Shane Company diamond side by side with a non-Shane Company diamond in the same grade. You'll see for yourself that our diamond has more beauty and sparkle. You'll be blown away when you see that two diamonds in the exact same grade can look so different. Our diamond experts examine each diamond individually and hand-select each diamond for its beauty. Whether you're shopping in person or online, we have the same rigorous selection process for all the diamonds we sell. Visit us today. You'll have the confidence to pick the diamond that's perfect for you.
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and Shaneko.com.
For you to notice the devastation, it's like a kick to the stomach.
The roof was completely gone. All of our mirrors being wiped away.
For you to see,
I watched the fire move down the canyon.
the rumbling of the house.
And it's gone now. The tornado took it.
For you to hear,
it sounded like a freight train all around us.
20 minutes of sheer terror.
Sounded the moment of my house shook.
For you to care.
Together we built a place and lived in it for 30 years. It's all gone. Totally destroyed by fire.
Samaritan's Purse is helping in Jesus' name. Caring for the poor. Feeding the hungry. Healing the sick. Comforting hearts. And going the distance. You can make a difference. Join us. Learn more at SamaritansPurse.org. That's SamaritansPurse.org.
Something my dad would say. I know the guy that can help you if you want to move out of state. Hi, it's Amanda Carroll. Tom Daves, he's an expert in this. Check out what he did for Philip. Philip was in the process of purchasing a new home in another state and decided to just go ahead and move there now. To finalize the purchase, he needed to sell his home in California, so he trusted Tom Daves and his team to take care of all the details. The team took care of all the cleaning, prep, and staging. The home was listed, and it got multiple offers. The buyer whose offer was accepted ended up canceling at the last minute, but Tom and his team secured a backup buyer, allowing for a successful closing that didn't interrupt the closing process for Philip's new home. Everyone involved was extremely happy with the result, and everyone is now living in their new homes. I love working with Tom Daves because he makes you feel like you're his only client. Call him, 855-TOM-DAVES, 855-TOM-DAVES, or just go to tomdaves.com. License number 581837. When you talk to him, make sure you tell him you're with the Fish family and Amanda sent you.
Streaming on the 103
session. And whatever you were searching for at 1:15 a.m., that's really none of our business. Because your life is private. And unlike other tech companies, we think your internet should be too. Oh, is someone there? Oh, that's none of our business either. Protect your privacy online for free with DuckDuckGo. DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
Did you know that your local grocery outlet is independently owned and operated by folks in your community? Unlike traditional grocery stores, this allows us to better serve our customers and the communities in which we operate. We support local schools and charities like helping fire departments with toy drives. We also donate thousands of items each year to food pantries in your neighborhood. Stop by your local grocery outlet today and see what we've been up to.
The IRS has private collection agencies actively tracking down folks who owe the IRS. So if you think dodging them was stressful in the past, it's not going to get any easier. Optima Tax Relief has this advice. Don't wait. Solve your tax problems now before it's too late. Optima works to help stop demand letters, stop aggressive collection actions, and stop the IRS collection agencies from targeting you. Ask about the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands. And nobody knows this program better than Optima. They're A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, and they get results, having resolved over $1 billion of tax debts for their clients. Get a fresh start. Call today for your free consultation. Call 800-783-6199. That's 800-783-6199.
During open enrollment, choose a health plan that connects you to over 1,000 primary and specialty care providers across hundreds of locations. Learn more at dignityhealth.org/open enrollment.
Exam 3. Zuri needs a new vet tech after their current one literally moved to a farm. But finding an ideal replacement takes some training.
This is like herding cats.
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Schedule virtual interviews and talk to candidates right from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
By the time you wrap up, there's a lot of meetups, eat-ups, and hurry-ups. So come to Shell and get 3 things done at once. Fill up with Shell V-Power Nitro Plus to help keep your engine running like new. Save up with the Fuel Rewards program and never pay full price for gas again. And stack up with instant rewards to save even more at the pump. Make the most of the stop you need to make with Shell. And engines that continuously use Shell V-Power Nitro Plus premium gas. Before terms and conditions, if you're
Let's get ready to rumble! Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C. This is Charlton at Big C Sports, coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe. According to everybody who listens to podcasts all over the universe. I want to say today's show is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. And when you go by and test drive yours, just tell them that Charlton and Big C sent you, as well as a fleet of Cadillac cars also all around the world. Just say 17 podcast applications that are following Big C Sports, so many that sometimes I forget, but I'll do my best, from Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio Podcasts, Hubhopper Podcast, Podchaser, Luminary Podcast, Jules Savant Podcast, out of London, England, Podcast Addict, so many things. If you've ever been in the attic, you understand what I mean. Today is a beautiful Thursday, October 28th, 2021. Rondo Deportes, Bongo, the Bitty Bitty Piche. Welcome to the show. I really do appreciate saying welcome to the show. ESPY nominated Big C Sports Podcast. I really do love what a beautiful day. We have Major League Baseball, the World Series, and the Houston strikes back, if that makes sense to you. They get a 7-2 win over the Atlanta Braves. Now the season is eerie. It's an eerie feeling because it's coming around Halloween. Halloween, you understand, Halloween could be an eerie feeling for a lot of people. You have the orange of the Houston Astros, and then you have the red and blue of the Atlanta Braves. It's going back to Atlanta, and they will have Game 3 in Atlanta coming up. And I really feel like it's going to be a great weekend of baseball. NBA basketball is also back. What happened to the Lakers? They blew the biggest lead they had in the history of the team. I think they were 230-0 when they had a lead of 25 points or more. But OKC, the Thunder, came back and shocked them. And then Westbrook had little upset with the guy dunking on him, but it's not his fault. You got to stop him from dunking if you don't want him to dunk. But what a big comeback win by the OKC Thunder. Got some NBA basketball going to be all over that today, as well as some NHL hockey. And I want to preview today the NCAA college basketball preview with the Big C Sports. We have Gonzaga coming in. The Bulldogs, The Bulldogs are coming in at #1 as all fan level. We also have the Green Bay Packers in an NFL football game. They are down in the desert. It's like everybody's hurt. So how they're going to win that game, I have no idea, but that's already underway. It is touchdown Aaron Rodgers, and he's going to go down into the desert to face touchdown Kyler Murray and the undefeated Arizona Cardinals. No one ever thought that would happen, but give them good old birds and praise. I love also saying you can follow Big C Sports all over the world, and you just got to say play Big C Sports Podcast. We have our Veterans Crisis Hotline that we love giving it out to. And I tell everybody, if you know anybody going through a crisis, you can just go veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net. I know a lot of people go online outside of giving out a phone number. So that's veteranscrisisline.net. And they have people who are they're expert at helping veterans and their loved ones get help. So go ahead, veteranscrisisline.net when you reach out to them. And that will help a lot of our veterans. Also very happy to be affiliated with Valley Homes Weekly TV on Dish TV, Direct TV, AT&T Uverse TV, the erstwhile first place San Francisco Giants, all fair 11 work. When you reach out to them, tell them Big C sent you. I wanted the World Series tickets this year. Atlanta's a long way to walk. And Houston's not as far of a walk, but it's also a long way to walk. So I'll let the good old boys down south get all the media credentials. There's a lot going on in the world of sports. When you think about it, the great comeback last night by the Houston Astros, Dusty Baker was saying they always have that extra camera. I mean, they always have that extra thing in their back pocket, not a camera though. I couldn't pass it up. They always find a way to study extra film. Okay, that doesn't work too good. You know what I'm saying. Dusty's as cool as they come. He said, hey, they were only down 1-0. They also trailed Boston in their series, and they came back and won that series, and they're expecting they're going to have a good showing on the road. But Atlanta is tough at home. But I want to touch on, for the Atlanta Braves, we already talked about it, the starter, Charlie Morton, he left the World Series Game 1 in the 3rd inning with a broken leg. There are a lot of people that go through all kind of pain, so we'll touch on that too. I want to pay homage to my family. I always say family. We have Ancestry.com. We also have BigCSports.com. On my mother's side, the patriarch of the family. His name was Pop. He's a former Negro League baseball player. Made the best moonshine in the history of the universe. Love to give him praise. He was well known for saying, get out of that barn, boys. Get out of that barn. You kids. Oh, yeah. And Love of War. Had the best lemonade I ever tasted in my life. Made you go to sleep. And then my great grandmother called her Mama. She was a seer. Made sure they kept the family together. Always had food in the belly. And made sure if she had something to eat, so did you. My beautiful grandmother, Muddy, she was a seer, a business person, very intelligent person, always making sure that we kept the family together. My grandfather, Hezekiah, same kind of person, a good business person, making sure the family stays strong, and really do appreciate giving out that family legacy that a lot of people, they talk about having, but ours is free. You don't got to pay for it. You just got to know where you came from. Also, my mother, my beautiful mother, started a Head Start program in Northern California. Give us some praise. Also won the Little League Championship of the universe as a beautiful black woman in a league that did not want her to be a coach. Isn't that something? Where have we seen that before? Only in America, it says. The land of the free, the home of the brave. Took a lot of hell from a lot of people who were Christians, so-called Christians, but you know how that is behind closed doors. But you won a league championship anyway. Despite all the victories, also said you rise and shine. Always rise and shine. If people don't like you, they suck. It's all fair. Never work. On my father's side of the business, my grandfather, the patriarch of the family, on my father's side, Albert Curry, was a pastor, built 2 churches, and he also pastored 2 churches, had 2 service stations in Oakland, California, and very, very smart businessman. Also had 40 acres. Isn't that something? Where have we heard that before, the 40-acre theory? He actually had 40 acres. My grandmother, Alberta Curry, the matriarch of the family on my father's side, a very intelligent person, business-minded, helped my father or my grandfather run the service stations, also helped run the church. It's all fair and level work. Give us the praise. And my father, Everett, a former military Air Force fighter pilot and mechanic with the United States Air Force. And my brother Todd, that's where I get my loud voice. He said, man, it's so loud outside. I said, no, that's just my brother making too much noise. All fair and level work. Really appreciate that. I love paying homage to my family. Malcolm, he's always all over it for the NBA. He said, can you believe that the Lakers gave up a big loss? I said, how you give up a big loss? They were up 25 points. It's the most they've ever been up and lost it out of 230 games. Isn't that something? And then Russell Westbrook, a little bit upset with a young man dunking. If you don't want him to dunk, just play better defense. 10 turnovers for Westbrook. But he also had another milestone. You can Google that. It's all fair and level work. But I want to touch on going back to Atlanta. Oh, what did Gladys Knight say? On the midnight train to Georgia. We're getting on the midnight train. Woo-hoo! Getting on the midnight train to Georgia. Dusty Baker and them good old boys, Altuve and them all are going down to Atlanta. And they're going to face the... Now, I don't know if that's good or bad. Some people love it. Some people don't. Major League Baseball has to deal with that. But there's 8 billion people on the planet. Who can say who likes everything? It's hard to get people in the same house to agree, let alone 8 billion people to agree. But going back to Atlanta, we'll have Game 3 coming up. And I'm telling you, you got it. It's the best 3 out of 4. The best 3, actually the best out of a 7-game series, is the first 4. So we got 3 games left for either team to claim the 2021 World Series. It's all fair and level. Give us some praise. I want to take you down to some, are you ready for the football? Touchdown, home run, 3-point play. Oh, man, Willie, he's going all the way. We'll have some football coming up down in the desert with the Arizona Cardinals and also the Green Bay Packers touchdown, Aaron Rodgers. I want to just bring up something. This show also is sponsored by Budweiser Zero. It has 0% alcohol, 100% honest game. Sportsman, when you're watching the game, eat it with the Big C burger. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with all those exotic meats. And you know exotic meats taste good. Don't act like you don't know. Everybody knows exotic meat tastes good. If you know what's on your hamburger, then that's not exotic meat. When you got different things dangling off the side, there's probably an exotic meat to your Big C burger. It's a tasty burger. Also, I want to say thank you to Xfinity, Comcast TV, and Comcast Spotlight for presenting Big C Sports to the universe, just like in Genesis 1:3. God said, let there be light. Open your cell phones and say, play Big C Sports Podcast. You will see our apps pop up all over the world, and 17 podcast applications and 4 TV applications, Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon and Fire TV, and a lot of smart TVs all over the universe. Really appreciate that. Also, as I say, ESPY-nominated Big C Sports Podcast, I'm the only sports show in the universe. And I know because I listen to guys all the time. I love anyone that can speak extemporaneously. I do that. No scripts. I have no teleprompters to look at, no producer in my ear. All I got in my ear is some earwax, and it keeps me good for the wintertime. You know, you can also cook with earwax. Every now and then I might run out of cooking. You know, butter, don't have anything to keep the eggs from sticking to the skillet. Take some earwax and rub it on that skillet. It's amazing. Make sure it's a non-stick skillet. It's all fair. You say, how much earwax do you have? Enough to cook one egg. It's all fair, 11 word. Really appreciate that. One of my favorite verses in the Bible is Genesis 13, and it says 15. It says, the God said, for all the land that thou seest will I give you, and thy seed forever. Also, the book of James 4:2 said, we have not because we have not. If you have not because you ask not, just ask. The answer is either yes or no, and it's always no if you don't ask. You cannot say the right thing to the wrong person, and you cannot say the wrong thing to the right person, so just ask. And give that some praise. Speaking of praise, oh my goodness, Thursday night football. Are you ready for football? The crowd is nuts down in Arizona, down in Glendale. Green Bay 6-1 at the Arizona Cardinals are 7-0. 8:20 p.m. to kick off East Coast time Thursday night. Tonight on Fox and the NFL Network. And the Cardinals are favored by 6.5 because the Packers have nobody. It's like a song that Keith Sweat sang one time. He said, nobody but me. Anyway, nobody. I don't even want to try to emulate Keith Sweat. But the Green Bay Packers have to do something. Think about this. Only one team has managed to do against the Cardinals this season. And that scored more than 20 points in the game. Touchdown Aaron Rodgers is capable, but he doesn't have his side wide receiver companion in Devontae Adams. But you think about a touchdown Aaron Rodgers is going to need to crack a top 10 pass defense. They're good, even though J.J. Watt is on the mend now. Arizona's now only one 100-yard receiver. That's amazing. Devontae Adams is out. He was sure to get 100 yards tonight, but he's not going to be able to do that. The way to get to the Cardinals and get them in trouble, you got to force them to have some bad plays. One thing, if you can say it's a bad thing about Arizona, is oftentimes they will run around too many times in the backfield trying to find an open receiver. So if you can get that, then that might help if you get Murray to run around and get outside of protection. But that's the hope if you're going to have a good defense against them. You got to keep your offense off schedule and create some turnovers. That's going to be hard against Arizona. Now, Arizona, they need to make some early stops and getting the points on the board. To do so would be to force touchdown Aaron Rodgers, last year's NFL MVP, and the Packers, who will likely be without wide receivers Devontae Adams and Allen Lazard, reserved COVID-19 list, to become one-dimensional. And the Cardinals follow that formula against the Titans, against the Rams, and the Browns, winning each of those games by at least 17 points out. I love Green Bay's football team, but without having touchdown Devontae Adams, it's going to be tough for them, and I don't think anybody's going to be surprised. And that's the thing that you got to worry about if you're an average team, because the point spread, you would make all your money by going with Green Bay. And maybe not to go with Green Bay to win, but to cover. Can they cover that 6.5? It's hard to win by more than 6.5 against a team like Green Bay. But if there's anyone that can cover, that would be Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers. But they don't have their whole offensive crew. So I think Arizona's going to cover tonight, and they'll most likely go to 8-0, and the crowd would be nuts down in Arizona. All fair and love and war. But when you think about it, Green Bay does not. I mean, they do know how to rise to the occasion when their star wideout is out. Adams is out the last 2 years. It may be because number 12, touchdown Aaron Rodgers, Northern California's finest outside of Tom Brady, and the Packers have a chance. He has talent. I remember talking to Aaron Rodgers after they came back and beat the 49ers, and he says he remembers things very easily, and he has good muscle memory. But when you think about it, he's a smart player, played for a long time. Probably every look you can show him on defense. Touchdown Aaron Rodgers has already seen it. He's probably one of the best at looking like he can just relax. He says relax all the time, but he does play like he's not even in a hurry. That's something people call being in the zone. So he plays a game in the zone, but it's going to take a lot more than the zone to knock off the Cardinals. The Cardinals quarterback, Kyler Murray is amazing. I think he handles every week better. He gets better by better. I mean, he's only a young man. He understands it's a tall task at hand, not to take anything for granted. It's rare that you see a team in the NFL go undefeated. I think last year, I may be wrong, but the Steelers, I think they were 11-0 at one time, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and look at what happened to them. There's always no one's going to beat the Dolphins' 72 record of going undefeated, but this is a team in Arizona. They got everything rolling in their favor. You gotta really appreciate what they've been doing with touchdown, Murray, and I really like them. I really like what Arizona poses. Man, I don't want to say they're going to cover the spread, but I think they will. Just because Green Bay doesn't have their assortment of receivers. I just talked about the Van Day Adams and then also Lazard. So that's going to be tough for them to make that up. I want to just run down the divisions. I'm going to do Big C's NFL preview tomorrow, but tonight I want to make sure I just run down the teams that are in first place in their conferences. You have in the AFC in the East, you have Buffalo at 4-2. New England, they are 3-4 only because they're number 2 only because the Jets and Miami haven't played well. Miami's 1-5. I'm sorry, Miami's 1-6. Beg your pardon. The Jets are 1-5. That's the AFC East. In the AFC South, you have Tennessee. The Tennessee Titans are 5-2. Indianapolis, they are 3-4, number 2 in the division. Jacksonville is 1-5, as well as Houston. Houston has problems in football. They are 1-6. Deshaun Watson won't be there by the end of the year. He'll be traded to another team if the league can move on with that. Isn't it something the Washington football team, they don't want to release the emails that John Gruden was sending and all the other responses to the emails, but they all in a hurry to tell Deshaun Watson you can't play. Seems like a double standard, just a double standard in my opinion. They're trying to hide one group of an oligarchy and they're throwing Deshaun Watson under the bus. But that's just my spin on it. I'm going to go to the AFC North. You have Baltimore Ravens are 5-2. And when you think about that, they're a dominant team. The Cincinnati Bengals, they're 5-2. Would you believe they're tied for first? Look at this. Baltimore scored 187 points. They've given up 164. Cincinnati, they've scored 189 points. They've given up 128. They're playing better defense. And we know they just beat down the Ravens 41-17. So in my opinion, it's hard to go against Baltimore, but on the numbers alone in writing, Cincinnati's a better team, at least on paper. Cleveland, this is not for you, man. Cleveland's 4-3, number 3 in the division, and Pittsburgh's 3-3. The worst team in the AFC North is Pittsburgh, and they are even. They're 500 on the season. Isn't that something? Mike Tomlin has found ways to win. They're 3-3. They scored 117, giving it 132. How are they 3-3? Stranger things have happened. In the AFC West, the Las Vegas Raiders, the Raiders are 5-2 on the season. The Chargers are 4-2 on the season. And then you look at Denver, they've been in a tailspin lately. They're 3-4. Kansas City, who would have thought that Kansas City would be 3-4 at this juncture of the year? But that's where they are. Patrick Mahomes says that he has to play better, not putting it off on anybody else. And he's right, he has to play better. Going to grow across. Well, give the AFC some praise. Give them praise. Now, they're going to go across to the NFL. In the NFC, in the East, the Dallas Cowboys. How about them Cowboys? They're 5-1 on the season. The Cowboys can put some points on the board. They scored 205 points this season, giving up 146. The Giants are 2-5. Philadelphia, they are 2-5, followed by Washington, also 2-5. We're going to go to the NFC South. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they are 6-1 on the season. Defending Super Bowl champions. They've scored 233 points, and they've given up 147. They're the second highest scoring team in the NFL this year. We'll see the highest scoring team tonight in the Arizona Cardinals. So Tampa's 2-1, actually 6-1, followed by number 2, New Orleans, with that win over Seattle on Monday night. New Orleans is 4-2 with touchdown Jameis Winston. Atlanta's 3-3. And Carolina, they've been slumping lately. They're 3-4 on the season. I'm going to go to the NFC, the North. You have the Green Bay Packers there on the road tonight down in Arizona. They're 6-1 on the season. They scored 168 points, giving up 146. Minnesota, they are 3-3 on the season. And they're hanging. Green Bay is going to win that division, but Green Bay most likely will fall tonight. Chicago, they are 3-4 on the season, and they got Justin Fields going to take his lumps, but he's going to be better for it. And the Detroit, the Bad Boys, or would that be the basketball team? Detroit Bad Boys. Oh, that's not a good thing when you call a football team Bad Boys, is it? But the Detroit Bad Boys, they're 0-7. Detroit has scored 128 points, has given up 200. I remember that coach said in the offseason he was going to break some knees and break some skulls and break some legs. We thought he was talking about the other guys within his own team. It's all fair and level war. They got to find a win somewhere. In the A, then you got the NFC West, the Arizona Cardinals. This segment is sponsored by the Big C Burger. It's a tasty burger and it comes with, what's all this exotic meat? Last I checked, a Cardinal is an exotic meat. Now, Arizona Cardinals most likely will cover that 6.5 tonight. They are 7-0 on the season. They have not given up more than 20 points at all this season in one game. They scored 225 points in 7 games. They've only given up 114 in 7 games. Those good boys can play. And followed by the Rams, which are also right on the heels. The only loss for the Rams has been in Arizona, and that was in Los Angeles at SoFi Center. The Rams are 6-1. They scored 207 points, giving up 146. And then the San Francisco 49ers. I don't know what to say about the Niners. They have just a little bit of bad luck the last 2 years with injuries, and they just can't seem to get the groove back. The Niners are 2-4. The only wins of the season came against a win to Detroit. Detroit's 0-7. And also they had a win on the road against Philadelphia. They're 2-5. So the combined record of the teams they beat, Philadelphia and also Detroit, they are 2-12. That hurts for the 49ers. The Niners have only scored 135 points. They've given up 149. Ouch. That hurts. I thought they would be a much better team now. Shanahan, as much as people want to say he's a guru, his father, some nepotism in the NFL. His father, Mike Shanahan, coached Denver Broncos to 2 Super Bowl championships. Kyle's been in the league a long time. But when you think about it, he's only had 1 winning record in San Francisco. If they don't win this year, they'll most likely tell him, on the road again. We can't wait to get you on the road again. Man, all fair and love and war. And then mopping up the last spot in the NFC West, you have the Seattle Seahawks. They are 2-5 on the season. They scored 150 points and given up 162. But they've also beat the 49ers head-to-head. So I got to put Seattle actually ahead of the 49ers. They scored more points on the season than the 49ers have. It's all fair and level war. So that's what's coming up. I'm going to just come up on the schedule before I give up the Big C's preview on Friday night special, Big C's Thoughts. We have Sunday's game. It's going to be Carolina at Atlanta. Cincinnati's going to play at the New York Jets. The Rams will be at Houston. Miami will be at Buffalo. Philadelphia's going to be at Detroit. Detroit might get their first win. Pittsburgh's going to be at Cleveland. This is for you. San Francisco at Chicago. The 49ers should get another win. I remember being back in Chicago when it was like 17 degrees below wind chill factor during a playoff game. It's not going to be that cold this time. And then you have the Tennessee Titans at Indianapolis. What a big game in the NFC South. The AFC South. I'm looking at Tennessee going on the road, getting that win. Jacksonville's at Seattle. So Seattle should get on the winning side of the thing at Lumen Field, their first home win of the year. New England at the LA Chargers. That's another loss for New England. The Chargers are good. They have to rebound after that beatdown they had at Baltimore. Tampa Bay Buccaneers at New Orleans. Upset alert. I'm telling you, upset alert. Tampa Bay at New Orleans in the Dome. The crowd's going to be nuts. All fair and love and war. We need an RV revaluation. Get the RV. Let's go RV. Some people don't know what that means. Release the RV. Release the RV. President Biden has a $1 trillion package trying to get that nut to crack. Crack the RV. Crack the RV. All fair and love and war. Some people don't know what that means, but it's okay. Washington at Denver. Somebody's got to win this game. Someone's got to have to win. Washington going to Denver, Mile High Stadium. Now, the Dallas Cowboys at Minnesota. What a game. I remember Tony Dorsett ran a 99 yards for the touchdown. Not going to see a 99-yard run in this game by Ezekiel Elliott, but it looks like a game that Dallas would win. And we have open Baltimore and Las Vegas have it open. New York Giants at the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs should get a win Monday night. It's all fair and level war. We're going to take what's called the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. Going to come back and touch on a few other sports from college football, as well as the NBA is fantastic, and then we'll touch on some college basketball. We're going to take what's called the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. In the words of the former California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back. All right, we are back from the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 17 podcast applications all over the universe. Really do appreciate that. This segment is sponsored by Budweiser Zero. It has 0% alcohol and 100% on this game. It's all fair and level. We're going to run down tonight's NBA schedule. I saw what happened last night in Oklahoma City. The Lakers kind of coughed up a little bad. That was a bad loss for the Lakers. They got to get things back. We need LeBron James to do what Arnold Schwarzenegger said. I'll be back. He has to come back. LA, this is for you. Thursday night's NBA action. Atlanta is at Washington. That tip-off started at 7 o'clock p.m. Detroit is at Philadelphia. 7 p.m. tip-off already underway. And then the New York Knickerbockers are at the Chicago Bulls. What a game that should be. Chicago surprising a lot of people so far. It's not Patrick Ewing and Michael Jordan, but it should be good enough. Utah is at Houston. Utah had to get a win at Houston. And then San Antonio is going to be at Dallas. Memphis and Ja Morant after beaten by the Portland Trailblazers. You have Steph Curry for three. This Splash Brother will be doing this thing. Last time Memphis was in Golden State, Memphis got a win, but I think Golden State remembers that, and Steph Curry can't wait to get his groove back over at beautiful Chase Center in downtown San Francisco. So I'm going with the Golden State Warriors to get their groove back and get a win over them good old boys from Memphis. And the NBA standings so far, we're going to start with the Western Conference. In the Southwest Division, Dallas is atop the pack, as well as Memphis, followed by New Orleans, Houston, and San Antonio. In the Western Conference Northwest Division, you have Utah in first place, followed by Minnesota. They got a surprising win last night over the Milwaukee Bucks. Denver, and then Portland, as well as OKC, with that first win of the season over the LA Lakers. Not a good sign for the Lakers. In the Pacific Division of the Western Conference, the Golden State Warriors, them good boys are undefeated. They're playing like the world champions that they might become again this year. Again, I picked Golden State to win the Western Conference. We'll see what happens if they should get to the NBA Finals. Followed by the LA Lakers. That is, I don't know what to say about that team. They have too much talent to not win. They have too much talent to have the OKC crowd sound like this at the final buzzer. That's no excuse for losing a 25-26-point lead. And then after you go with the Lakers, you got Phoenix. The Sacramento Kings with a win over the Phoenix Suns last night, 110-107. What a game won in the final few seconds of the game by the Sacramento Kings. I did say the Kings would make the playoffs this year, and I think I'm going to be held right to that. The LA Clippers and the Sacramento Kings are rounding out the bottom half of the Pacific Division. But I like the Sacramento Kings. I think if you look at what they've done, they're right there in... there's a big logjam for the second best team right now in the Pacific Division of the NBA Finals. It's all fair and level war. I'm looking forward to the very best coming up in NBA basketball over the weekend. Should be a lot of good things happening. I also want to run to the world of the NHL, the National Hockey League, which stands for I won't even say that. National Hockey League, if that makes sense to you. Give us some cheers on the ice. Everybody likes ice. I'm going to run down tonight's schedule for Thursday's game. Arizona is at Tampa Bay. Boston is at Carolina. Games already stopped the ice. They dropped the puck at 7 p.m. East Coast time. Calgary is at Pittsburgh. They're coming into the United States. And I'm going to tell you, the Colorado is at St. Louis. That should be a good matchup. Buffalo's going to be down in Southern California at Anaheim. That's a 10 p.m. East Coast time drop of the hockey puck. Minnesota's going to be up in the Great Northwest at Seattle. Philadelphia, they're going even further in the Great Northwest or what they call it the Southwest for Canada. Vancouver, British Columbia, that's at 10 p.m. Drop under the puck, East Coast time. And then Montreal, I love how we have Montreal, or we have Canada coming to the United States back and forth. Montreal, they are at San Jose, so be careful of those sharks. You don't want to get bitten by a shark. Sharks on ice, usually on ice, you're going to eat them. These sharks get out of the water and play. So you have the good old boys from Canada, Montreal, playing at San Jose. And then Winnipeg, they're at Los Angeles. So give it up some praise. Give some praise to the world of the NHL, the hockey's all fair and level war. I also want to touch on the world of soccer. I know a lot of people say soccer is the most played sport in the world. In the United States, everybody's all about football, basketball, and baseball. But I'm going to run down just the standings for soccer, because a lot of people love soccer, especially follow Big C Sports for soccer. In the English Premier League, Chelsea's in first place, followed by Liverpool. Number 3 is Man City. And then West Hampton, Brighton, Tottenham, and then Manchester United, followed by Everton. So those are the top several teams in the English Premier League. I love bringing that to you also. And may they have the best going forward in the soccer universe. Really appreciate that. Give soccer some praise. Give it praise. In the MLS, in the Eastern Division, New England in first place, followed by Philadelphia, Nashville, Orlando City, and then NYFC, as well as New York, and then Atlanta. I'm going to also go to the Western Conference, Seattle. Let's get cracking. Come on. Let's get cracking. I mean, people like cracking, whatever that is. You ever had cracking? I hear it tastes pretty good with some, it's like the Big C burger. It's a tasty burger that comes with what's all that cracking exotic meat. All friend level war. In the Western Conference, Seattle, followed by Sporting Kansas City, Colorado, Portland, followed by the LA Galaxy, and then Minnesota United, as well as Los Angeles FC, and then Vancouver. All fair and level war. I know a lot of good old boys are looking forward to college football. Big C's thoughts on some college football, but we're going to do the Big C thoughts, the previews on Friday's show. We got high school football, and we'll rate the top 10 teams of the country, and then we'll get into Big C's college Saturday kickoffs, and then Big C's NFL picks. But tonight, we do have a game Thursday. We have 2 games in college football. We have, out of the South, we have Troy. They're 4-3. They're at once beaten Coastal Carolina. It's a 7:30 p.m. kickoff East Coast time. That game's already underway. And then we have South Florida. They're at 2-5. At East Carolina, 3-4, 7:30 p.m. kickoff on some Thursday night football, because college classes are more important than football. We're going to take what's called the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. When we come back, we're going to talk about some college basketball and Big C previews. In the words of the former California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back. All right, we are back from the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 17 podcast applications all over the universe and 4 TV applications. It's all fair and level war. This segment is sponsored by the Big C Burger. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with what's all this exactly? Now, a basketball is made of leather. I don't think it's real leather from cowhide or pig skin. I think it's made of synthetic. So, yeah, I told you it's exotic meat, all fair and level war. I want to run down some top 20 in college basketball. It's preseason, all fair and level war. But I have Big C's thoughts on college basketball, the top 10. Congratulations last year, Baylor's men's basketball team, the Bears. They celebrated after beating Gonzaga to win the 2020-21 National Championship last spring. March Madness is back. All fair and level war. So when you think about some of the top teams this year, I know Coach Few had a problem drinking and driving. Don't drink and drive, Coach. They have Uber. Even up in Pullman, Washington, and Spokane, Washington, they have Uber. No excuse for drinking and driving, especially mad. You got to understand how you put people at risk. No excuses. None whatsoever. But be that as it may, number 1 preseason ranked in the college basketball universe, UCLA. Fight, fight, fight. I'm going to go with the number 1 UCLA, and Bill Walton will back me up. UCLA Bruins, Big C Sports preseason number 1 college basketball team in the universe. College Pavilion will be jumping for the UCLA Bruins. With the Bruins lost to Gonzaga in an instant final for a classic, it's as if they had a magnet in the rim. It's all fair level work. It was a classic game, though. That's in the memory of a lot of players. It's easy to forget how tough that March run was. UCLA finished in the middle of the pack in the Pac-12. They got to March Madness, and they thought that Bill Walton was on the team with Lou Alcindor's all-friend Level War. But when you think about most key contributors are back, they are like Arnold Schwarzenegger said, we are back. You think about it, including the tournament star Johnny Huzang, 16 points per game, and fellow guard Tyler Campbell, about 11 points a game, and then Mick Cronin's team is likely to cut down the nets this year because they have a good recruiting class, and they found their mojo, and they found a way to tell the national media, quit talking crap about the Pac-12. If you look at what UCLA and Stanford did last year, they beat Alabama by combined 28 points, and that was the SEC champion. And two Pac-12 teams beat them by 28 points combined. Stanford won by 18, UCLA by 10. I know that's last year, but UCLA has a lot stronger team this year. They kind of arrived a year early under Cronin last year, so I'm picking them as number one in the country. Number two, I'm going with the Gonzaga Bulldogs. You have Drew Timme. He has 19 points per game, 7 rebounds per game. One of college's most efficient big men. And then you have Andrew Nimrod at 9 points a game and 4.4 assists per game, 4.4. They're key pieces that are returned from last year's national championship run. They lost to Baylor, which shows you that if you can be physical against them, you might slow them down. It's all fair and level war. You got to look at Mark Few's program. 21 years in a row in the tournament. 21 years in a row in the tournament, winning the West Coast Conference. Number 3 in the country, I'm going to go out of the Big 12. You have Kansas, number 3. The Jayhawks return their top 3 scorers. And Ochai Agbaji at 14 points a game. And forwards David McCormick at 13 points. And Jalen Wilson averages 12 points a game. Bill Self's team, we're missing a dynamic creator at the perimeter. They have transfer Remy Martin from Arizona State. And you have Joseph Martin from Drake. Both players were going to fill in a need. They're a very good team, always well coached by Bill Self for the Kansas Jayhawks. What are all these paper bags? Speaking of the Kansas Jayhawks, this segment sponsored by the Big C Burger. It's a tasty burger and it comes with what's all this exotic meat. What are all these paper bags floating around? Anyway, number 4, a lot of people have their own thoughts. I'm going to go with the Texas Longhorns. Speaking of Longhorns, this segment sponsored by the Big C Burger. It's a tasty burger and it comes with what's all this exotic meat. Texas Longhorns coming in Big C Sports. Number 4 ranked team in the country. The Longhorns under new management with Chris Beard coming over from Texas Tech. And the Rosters will have a largely a new look. And Minnesota transfer Marcus Carr joins the great player by Courtney Ramey and also Andrew Jones in the backcourt. The Texas Longhorns at Big C Sports, my pick at number 4 preseason. Number 5 preseason, I'm going to go with Michigan. The Michigan Wolverines. I don't want to add the exotic meat to the Big C Burger because I can't confirm or deny if we have Wolverine in the Big C Burger. But I'm going to go with Michigan coming in at number 5 for Big C Sports. And you look at the outlook, a lot of optimism. The Wolverines due to a highly regarded freshman class. They have 5 signees: Caleb Houston, Moses Dabadi, and then Juwan Howard is a great coach. Several important returnees from last year's team, the Elite 8 squad. And you have, I think, the center, Hunter Dickinson and Eli Brooks are going to do a lot of noise, make a lot of noise in the inside game for the Michigan Wolverines. I'm going to come in number 6 at the Villanova. Villanova is a good team. The Wildcats likely have been pegged as a Big East favorite in any event. The news that guard Colin Gillespie, 14 points a game, and forward Jermaine Samuels at 12 points a game, we're coming back for an extra year. That gives them a better look for the national championship pursuit. It's just a pursuit, but give those good old boys some praise. Going to come to you, number 7, Purdue, the Boilermakers. The outlook is Matt Painter goes from having one of the Big Ten's youngest teams in season. The Boilermakers have aspirations to make a deep run in the Big Ten Conference, let alone in March Madness. Trevion Williams, 15 points per game, will again be the key maker for that team. Eric Hunter also returning is going to help them at the guard rotation. Purdue will have a good team this year in the Big Ten. I'm going to go to number 8 in Big C's top 10 preseason, the Duke Blue Devils. What's all? No, I won't even go there. Won't even go there. The Duke Blue Devils last season for Mike Kucharewski Or is it Krzyzewski? I missed this commercial. Coach Krzyzewski, Mike Krzyzewski, the dean of all college schools. So give Coach Krzyzewski some praise. Give him praise, praise, praise. All he does is win, 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 no matter what. Duke Blue Devils coming in Big C's number 8 in college basketball preseason. Coach Krzyzewski, one of the greatest coaches to ever coach at any level. High school, college, professional. But think about it. He began the Blue Devils and had them a top contender almost every year. They're capable of making a championship run. 3 starters return with sophomore center Mark Williams, the most promising averaging 17 points and 7 rebounds in the final 6 games. And then Coach K, you think about the elite finish. They have a lot of freshmen. The roster was hit hard by the NBA draft, but you have Pablo Banchero and A.J. Griffin are 5-star recruits who should slide into the front court. It doesn't matter whether it was a Grant Hill that played there back in the day. You know, you always have something about Duke. Duke will always find a way to win. I always liked Coach K. He graduates his players to be the swan song. I think he'll keep his team focused, maybe even get some calls by the officials. I mean, I wouldn't hurt it at all to see what he's done to have such a great program over the years. Give Coach K some praise on his final swan song for the Duke Blue Devils. Number 9 in Big C, college basketball top 10 preview, or top 25 preview. I'm going to go with last year's national champion, the Baylor Bears. The Baylor Bears is sponsored by the Big C Burger, the tasty burger in the custard. What's all this exotic meat? And last I checked, a bear is exotic meat. Who wants to catch that joker, though? It's all fair level war. But Baylor, you know, you can tell when a team goes to the weight room, because that's what the Baylor Bears were doing last year. They were going to the weight room, following one of the most dominant NCAA tournament runs in the 64-team era. Drew Scott must now find replacements for the dynamic and physical players that led the Bears to the title. Arizona transfer Jermaine Ajinko will likely fill one spot along with holdovers Adam Fackler and L.J. Cryer. So freshman Kendall Brown could also crack the starting lineup. When you think about Michael Mayer's 8 points per game, looks pretty to carry on that scoring load. But what I love about Baylor also, you got to lift weights to play against Baylor. They ran through the Big 12 conference with like the Texas and Texas Tech, and that's a good football team they have down there now. And some of those football players showed the basketball players how to lift weights. I mean, they looked like a football team last year, especially against Gonzaga. And I don't think it's going to go away. They blew out Houston, and they blew out Gonzaga to get to the national championship, and they cut down the nets. One shining moment, you win or you lose. One shining moment, you choose. Okay, don't make fun of me. No one can do it like Teddy Pendergrass back in the day. I'm going to run back to Big C's number 10 through 20. I already covered you through the top 10 preseason NCAA college basketball. Now I'm going to run down 10 through 20, and it's just my opinion, and everybody has their own opinion. I'm going to start at number 10 for Big C's preseason top 20. Quack, 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 quack. It's sponsored by the Big C Burger. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with what's all this exotic meat. Number 10 in Big C's college basketball top 10. I'm going to go with the Oregon Ducks. Think about the Oregon Ducks. The roster gets turned over every year. Dana Altman just keeps winning. Quack, 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 quack. They reached the Sweet 16 in 4 of their last 5 tournaments. They'll probably reach it again this year because they're just that good. Watch how well Dylan Brooks was playing with Memphis. They had a lot of good players that come through Oregon. And when you think about how good they've been, they have some holdovers. They have Will Richardson, 11 points per game. Eric Williams, 10 points. They have a solid inside-outside combination. They have a lot of talent that comes over from multiple places. Quincy Grier out of Syracuse, Devon Harmon out of Oklahoma, and then Jacob Young out of Rutgers, all transferred in. You know, when you got that Phil Knight money that runs that Oregon program, there's no reason for them not to be in the top competing for a Pac-12 championship with UCLA as they fight. It's all fair and level war. Number 11 in Big C's preseason top 10. I'm going to go with this sponsored by the Big C Burger. It's a tasty burger that comes with what's all that exotic meat. I'm going to go with the Kentucky Wildcats. Coach John Calipari went to work in reshaping the roster for a tournament. A month incoming transfer Kellen Grading from Davidson. The great Steph Curry came out of Davidson. C.J. Frederick from Iowa will be expected to supply a lot of sports, a lot of scoring for the the Kentucky Wildcats. And Xavier Wheeler from Georgia will likely start in the backcourt. And they had a hell of a freshman, Ty Washington, in the front court. Oscar Teaspool from West Virginia. When you think about it, Davion Mintz, 11 points per game, is back. Keon Brooks is 10 points a game. They have a lot of experience. Kentucky will always win. They have that great Rupp Arena. They have the crowd that's always on their feet. Kentucky, whatever they hand out in the moonshot, not moonshot, the Gatorade is going to help them a lot to keep winning. I'm going to go, so that's going to give you my thoughts on those two great programs, 10 and 11, Oregon and Kentucky. I'm going to go to 13. The Illinois Fighting Illini team took a major boost when All-American center Kofi Cockburn returned after ending the draft and transfer portal. There's not much depth on the team behind Florida transfer Omar Payne, but this is the team that will challenge in the Big Ten against the likes of Michigan and also Purdue. They're a good team at Illinois. Look for them to do a great job. They also have a Utah transfer, Alfron Plummer, also been drawing rave reviews at his three-point shooting, is expected to be a big weapon for the Illinois Fighting Illini. I'm going to run you down to another great team. I like Alabama. Alabama's coming in. They will challenge for the Southeast Conference Championship. I'm telling you, what does Nados do for an encore leading the Crimson Tide? They've been knocked out by UCLA by 10 points in March Madness. Their first SEC regular season title since 2002. Give them some praise. Alabama's very athletic. Give them praise. The backcourt looks great. Jaden Shackelford, 14 points a game. Javon Curley at 13 points, the top two scorers from last year. An additional punch comes from Texas Tech transfer Namari Burnett. Alabama, they have everything it takes to make a run at the SEC championship. They have a great income from a freshman, J.D. Davidson, a McDonald's All-American guard, and center Charles Bedarko. I mean, they're a good-looking team. The challenge for that 13-14 spot for the Alabama Crimson Tide. I really like what they put on the floor. They have a lot of players that are just going to challenge in that SEC. And when you get them, along with the experience they had last year, being in the title, you know they're going to make a good run for it also this year. So look for Alabama to make a run against Kentucky in the SEC. Give them a chance. Give them some praise. They deserve it because they had a great team last year, and the crowd can be nuts as well as this year for the Alabama Crimson Tide. You know, their football's good, their basketball's good. Now we just need something to happen with their baseball team. They've also been good in all sports down in Alabama. So give the Crimson Tide some praise also in the world of college basketball. I'm going to take you to another team that should have a lot of success this year in the world of college basketball. I'm going to take you to, it's sponsored by the Big C Burger, and it comes with, what's all this exotic meat? The Houston Cougars. Yeah, give the Houston Cougars some praise. Give them praise. I said give them praise, my producer. Give them praise. It's going to be hard to top last year's run in the Final Four. They've been knocked out by Baylor, but especially with the core of the Cougars backcourt gone, you still have Kelvin Sampson, brings back enough talent to be the favorites in the American Athletic Conference. I don't know why Houston's not in the Big 12. Just my opinion, they're the biggest city in Texas. Why not have being the biggest conference, and that runs through Texas also. But I'm going to look at them and making a nice run to win their conference again. Marcus Sasser, 13 points per game, is going to be expected to carry a lot of the burden for that team down in Houston. Texas Tech transfer Kyle Edwards also to help coming off the bench. Number 15, Arkansas, the Razorbacks. Give the Razorbacks, oh my goodness, this segment sponsored by the Big T Burger. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with, what's all this exotic meat? Last I checked, Razorback was pretty exotic meat. You think about the Razorbacks, they were one of the hottest teams in the country. You got to cook a Razorback on a hot grill. One of the hottest teams in the country, winning 12 of their last 14 games, with losses to LSU in the SEC title game and Baylor in the Elite Eight. Now with Coach Eric Musselman, will try to build on that momentum with his backcourt. J.D. Naste started to be one game and still the second scoring in the three-pointers made. He'll be joined by Devontae Davis, he's stepping it up. The starting lineup this year awaits for him, as well as Miami transfer Chris Likes, to short on his 5'7" size, but he can still get the ball up and down the court for them. Number 16, Memphis. I'm going to give Memphis number 16 spot in Big C's preseason college basketball top 20. Coach Penny Hardaway starts the fourth season, still seeking his first trip to the NCAA tournament. He did win an NIT, but expectations are higher for Jalen Duran and Imani Bates. When you think about it, reclassification give the Tigers 2 5-star big freshmen. DeAndre Williams is 12 points a game, 5.8 rebounds. Also would be an option up front. And then Londas Noli at 13 points per game is a leading returning scorer. Memphis is going to have a good team this year, making a lot of noise. Number 17 in Big C's top 20. I'm going to run it. Ohio State and the Big Ten. The Buckeye is a nut, and they bring back an experienced core from a team that surprised many in the Big Ten by they got the number 2 seed in the NCAA tournament. And then centerpiece for the junior forward, it's actually E.J. Liddell at 16 points a game, 7 rebounds, one of the best in the conference. In the backcourt, Buckeyes may turn the starting job over to transfer Jamari Wheeler from Penn State, and then Cedric Russell, Louisiana Lafayette. The big men, Ohio State, will take them far this year in that Big Ten conference that has 14 teams. It's all fair in the board. Number 17 in Big C's college basketball top 20. I'm going to go with the Florida State Seminoles. They have their wingman, Anthony Polite, not very polite to his opponents, 10 points a game, 4.5 rebounds. This team leading returner in all-conference pick, while at Houston, redshirt sophomore Caleb Mills will step right into a huge role in the backcourt. It could get crowded for minutes at guard. Florida State also has 2 high-impact freshmen that are trying to compete for a time, and Matthew Cleveland, also Jalen Worley. Such a great team Florida State has down there challenging for the ACC. I'm going to jump in Tennessee. Going to bring them in at my number 18 pick. The Volunteers, one of the preseason favorites to win the SEC after teaming with an established handful of contributors. Several high-profile freshmen, including guard Kennedy Chandler, 6-year senior. Guard is John Faulkner, 9.5 points per game, 5.5 rebounds. This is going to help the front court. They need help from the juniors, Alier Nukamura. And they have plenty of options in the wing with Victor Bailey at 11 points per game. Josiah Jordan James, 8 points a game and 6.5 rebounds. They got also Auburn transfer Justin Powell at 12 points per game and 5 rebounds. I'm going to bring him to number 20, North Carolina. There's a rapper that has that song, North Carolina. The North Carolina Tar Heels, led by Michael Jordan and Sam Burgess. No, that's the old roster light up. Michael Jordan and the North Carolina Tar Heels. Come on. Oh, no, that's the wrong. Hold on, producer. Michael Jordan, he hasn't played that in 35 years. Okay, sorry about that. But North Carolina always in the thick of things. The Hubert Davis era begins with slightly lower expectations given the program's exodus of talent since March. North Carolina lost 4 players to the transfer portal and a 5th to the NBA draft, leaving it a lot of holdovers, but they have a history of winning. Armando Bacot, 12 points per game, 8 rebounds. Caleb Love, 11 points per game, do the heavy lifting for the Tar Heels. But they're the Tar Heels. They will win because of reputation and talent that will show up and play at a high level. 6-year senior Brady Manick was a 4-year start at Oklahoma, and he's going to help add to their roster. So I like North Carolina cracking that top 20 and Big C's. College basketball top 20. I'm going to briefly run down the top 25 as we go into overtime. Maryland, going to pick Maryland at number 21 in Big C's. College basketball top 25. Maryland, 7 new scholarship players will chip in where Maryland needs to have some immediate help. In the backcourt, we have Rhode Island transfer Fats Russell, 15 points a game, 4.5 assists per game, and 5 rebounds. Could be an impact player for the Maryland Terrapins. Hey, this segment is also sponsored by the Big C Burger. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with what's all the exotic meat. Last I heard, a terrapin is an exotic meat. It's all fair in level war. They have a good team in Maryland, and they're going to challenge also doing things on the hardwood. Number 22 in Big C's college basketball, Power 25. The UConn Huskies, Coach Dan Hurley. Think about this good old boy. Got UConn back in the tournament in his 3rd season as the Huskies aim for the Big East Championship. Heading into his 4th, while star guard James Bucknight has gone to the NBA. The Huskies do bring back the next 6 top scorers from the 2020-21 season. They should be really good this year with Adam Sarango, 7 points per game, 4.8 rebounds per game, who will also be the centerpiece of the offense coming in off of a strong late first season. We have senior guards R.J. Cole, 12 points a game, Tyrese Martin, 10 points per game, is going to help that team at UConn. Number 23, the Auburn Tigers, War Eagle. And speaking of the Tigers, Auburn, this segment sponsored by the Big C Burger. It's a tasty burger that comes with what's all this exotic meat. And a tiger and a War Eagle are exotic meat. Last I checked, Auburn in the SEC, they have an explosive front court. Bruce Pearl has the Tigers thinking about winning the national championship. They always say that. But when you think about it, junior Jalen Williams, 11 points a game, 5 rebounds per game, and 5-star freshman Jabari Smith, North Carolina transfer Walker Kessler, and a lot more. Auburn's going to be able to play bigger lineups in the SEC. Eastern Kentucky transfer Wendell Green has 15 points per game. Also, Charleston's transfer Zep Jesper has 16 points per game. And then Georgia transfer K.D. Johnson at 14 points a game, as well as Dovin Cambridge at 9 points a game. Auburn's going to be loaded to make a challenge in the SEC, going up against the likes of Arkansas, Tennessee, Alabama, Kentucky, all friendly more. Number 24, and Big C's college basketball power rankings, the Virginia Cavaliers, 9 players return from last year's rotation, just 2 years from a national championship. The losses are noteworthy. Virginia's going to have to replace its 3 leading scorers, have a heavy burden left for Kihei Clark at 10 points a game, and then also Reese Beckham at 5 points per game. The Cavaliers will also be helped by transfer Jaden Gardner out of East Carolina, Armand Franklin, Indiana. No question that Virginia will play good defense. The Cavaliers always play good defense. They're always a fortunately record on the hard court. And my final top 25 for Big C sports college basketball, St. Bonaventure, gonna give them Mark Schmidt's, the Bonnies claim the Atlantic 10 regular season and tournament crown last year. The entire starting lineup is back like Arnold Schwarzenegger. A little more bench help. I think the floor general and Kyle Lofton, 14 points per game, 5.5 rebounds in center. Osu Oceania at 10 points per game. And then the headliners with Jaron Holmes at 14 points a game, Jalen Attaway at 12 points, and then Dominic Wilk at 11 points per game should help St. Bonaventure crack Big C's college basketball preview, top 25 basketball teams in the universe. Give them praise. Give them praise. That's what we have is my points. I'm sticking with it. I wish nothing but the best to tonight's Thursday night football. The Arizona Cardinals in the desert trying to remain undefeated. They take on touchdown Aaron Rodgers, and the Green Bay Packers is all fair and level war. May everyone please be safe as you rise and shine. Back in the day, there's a man by the name of Drew Boudini Brown. He was known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man, and he would always tell Ali, "You flow like a butterfly, you sting like a bee. Rumble, young man, rumble. With all you've got to use, how can you lose?" Ali said, I'm pretty, and I can't possibly be beat. All these big sea burgers make me out of my feet. That's why I float like a butterfly and sting like a bee, and I rumble, young man, rumble. As we always tell you, beautiful mama always says there's no excuse for racism or domestic violence. No man, woman, or child should ever have to go through that garbage on their own. If you know anybody going through that crap, pick up the phone and ask for help, because no man, woman, or child should ever have to deal with being intimidated or hurt. As we always tell you on every Big C Sports Show, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day. Are you ready for some sports? Everyone, please be safe. No drinking and driving. God bless, and we'll see you Friday on Big C's NFL and College Preview.